We are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us tonight. You literally could have been anywhere else in the world. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's COVID. I don't know. But you could be watching Dancing with the Stars. You could be watching Wheel of Fortune. You could be watching All My Children. I don't know what young people watch now, but you're here with us. So we want to thank you guys for being here today. We have a special event for you guys tonight. With us tonight, we have the very special Nicole, who is our data person. Let's give her a round of applause. Also with us tonight, we have the assessor for Cassandra, Holbert. Let's give her a round of applause.
There we go.
And then we have our assessor for the entire county, Fritz Kaegi. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All right, enough with that. So tonight we have a nice little event for you guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do want to begin. So first, we would just like to have the assessor go in and start us off. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. And I just wanted to back up what we got with Hector, Nicole, and Cassandra. We're all here to serve you. We know you can be anywhere this time of night, especially at the dinner hour. Right now, my kids have just finished all their lessons, and now they're about getting ready to go to dinner, and it's getting to be kind of a crazy hour of the night if you have kids. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. So I'll make some remarks here. I'm just really glad to be here under the auspices of your Township Assessor, Cassandra. Cassandra is the Township Assessor that represents more people than any other Township Assessor in our whole county, and probably more people than any other Township Assessor in the United States. So she has quite a large job. She does a lot. She serves a lot of people, and we're just tickled to be here with her, serving with her and helping you. So thank you for that. I just wanted to make some remarks here tonight before your Township Assessor, Cassandra Holbert, gets to tell you more. I wanted to tell you about just some basics about the property tax system. If you could leave this event tonight with a little bit more basics on how the system works, we think it'll help you navigate a system that is really confusing. One of the things that when I came into office in December of 2018, one of the very first things I learned is that even people whose daily business is engaging in the business of real estate and whose daily business is doing politics and tax policy, even those people don't have a grasp of all the different things going on in the tax system, so in our assessment system. And so it's confusing, and I think it might have been created to be confusing so it was hard for the average person to understand. But we're going to break it down for you tonight and help you make sure that you get all the services and assessments that you deserve, because that is our job. That's the way we serve you. Now, one of the most important concepts I want to leave you with, the assessor's office is one half of this larger system. So our job on the assessment side of the slide here, on the assessment side of the system, is to estimate the market value of your home, of your neighbors' homes, of the commercial properties and industrial properties in your community. That's what our job is. But there's this whole other side of the ledger, which is the amount of taxes that have to be raised, the actual number of dollars that have to be raised. We don't decide that. And that is one of the things that creates great disparities in our system. I know many folks who live in Thornton Township suffers from some of the highest rates in the nation. And I wish we, at the assessor's office, could do that. But even if we get our assessments perfect, even if we get those market values exactly right, there are still giant disparities in our system because our state and our federal government does very little to support the cost of educating your children and does very little to support the cost of local government. And because property values in a lot of communities in Thornton Township are low, it's been really hit by the housing crisis. It's been hit by structural unfairness. It's been hit by all of the things that are rolled up in the disparities in our society. The amount of property value is low. in these communities. So you have to spread the cost of educating children and funding basic government services across the increasingly narrow shoulders of the property of the property values that remain. And so I just wanted you to understand this, because it's important that we understand it, because to make sure that the assessment side of the system is working, we can break it down for you here. We're going to help you here, make sure that you get the assessment you deserve, and we'll show you how we're trying to make sure that everyone's assessed value is being represented right, so that you're only paying your fair share. But just remember that we don't control the other half of the equation, which is really unfair, especially in the south suburbs, because your local governments have to shoulder the cost of funding schools when even the property tax base has become so low, and that makes rates high. And unfortunately, we can't control that even if we get the assessments right. So what we try to do with the assessor's office is make sure that we're estimating the value of your home correctly. And every community has different dynamics. What we do is we look at what did houses sell for like yours in your community. We look at all the different things that could go into what someone might pay for a home, the number of bedrooms, the higher, whether it was constructed recently, whether it was refurbished, the amount of floors it has, the footage it has, the size of the lots. And we look at transactions that took place in the last few years, try to estimate how much the market would pay for a home like yours. And that's our job. When we do this, we're trying to do this, making sure that our models don't have a bias in them. We think in the past we needed to do more to make sure that lower end homes were assessed in the same way that higher end homes, and that we're not giving favoritism to some at the expense of others. If there are lots of foreclosures in the community, we're trying extra hard to make sure we take that into account in our models. We created a whole new data science team to make sure that we're incorporating all that data, doing a good job by you to estimate the market value of your home. Now, sometimes we get this wrong, and fault of the model, or it can be because we don't have good data. And in either case, you should make sure that the assessment reflects what you could actually sell your house for. That's the ultimate test. So when you get your assessment notice, as everyone in Thornton Township has recently, make sure that the estimated market value that we put on your assessment notice reflects what your house would actually sell for. If it doesn't, it might be because we don't have the right data about your house, and we can get that corrected. Or it could be just because we overestimated what we think the market would pay for your house, and we can, in your appeal, which we'll tell you how to do, we'll make sure that you're being treated in the same way that others are who are in the same boat as you. And the other key concept that I wanted to leave with you, besides that one about the difference between just estimating values like we do, and then the problems that come with having to shoulder the cost of education on a narrow base, which causes differences in rates. That's one kind of concept that I'd like you to leave with tonight. The other one is to make sure that you know that your assessment doesn't exist in isolation. It should matter to you how everyone in your community is assessed, because you are dividing up that burden amongst all of the other people, amongst all the other people in your community. If there's some folks whose assessment is wrong or done inaccurately, it comes at the expense of you and all your neighbors. So we try to make sure that we're doing a good job for everyone. Everyone's assessment is interlinked. In some states, all you have to worry about is how you're assessed, and then the rate is kind of given, and then you're done. The way it works in this state is the rate that you pay depends on how other people are assessed. And so we're really focusing on getting that right. And we publish reports on our website this year showing what's going on in your whole community in terms of how we estimated housing values to have changed, how residential values are different from commercial values. We put all that information up on the website so you can see what's going on in your community, and you can put any change in your assessment in the context of what's going on in your whole community, because that is one of the big pieces for driving your tax bill. It's not just your assessment in isolation, it's how your assessment is changing compared with the whole assessed value. That's the other important concept to take away. What I'd like you to know is that if you feel your tax bill, the third thing, those are two things that I just explained to you about the assessment system. The third thing I'd like you to leave with tonight is if you feel that your tax bill is incorrect, not your assessment, but your tax bill, it's very important to file for a certificate of error by the end of this week so that we can process it. The way you can find out if that tax bill is incorrect is if it's left off some exemptions. If you're a senior citizen or a homeowner, but the number of exemptions on the tax bill is listed as 0, that is a sign that the tax bill may be incorrect. And you can get a certificate of error issued, but only by the end of this week. That will make sure that the bill actually reflects what you really owe, and if you've overpaid it, you'll be refunded the amount of property tax that you paid in excess of what you should have paid. So we will help you with that here tonight. The last thing is just a reminder that you can make appointments to speak with someone in person at our office on our website. If you go to www.cookcountyassessor.com, you can make an appointment. It's convenient for folks in Thornton Township to go to our satellite office in Markham. They've been doing a great amount of work. The lines are low, and it's a great time to go and visit now that the tax deadline has passed, to come in and make sure that everything is squared away for you. We want you to know that we're here to serve you, and this is a very important time to attend to any things that you might have let sit during the summertime. What are we trying to do in our office to make the assessment system work better for you? We know that the assessment system has had problems in the past with inaccuracy, with bias, with structural unfairness, with regressivity, which means that folks who own lower price properties, who live in Black and brown communities, have tended to pay a higher rate or be overassessed compared with others. How are we fixing that? The first thing that we're doing is we're putting all of our models and our data online so that everyone can see how we come up with our numbers and that no one's getting a favorable treatment over anyone else. Because remember, the tax that you pay depends on how other people are assessed. If we're doing a better job making sure that we're assessing others fairly, you are going to be in a better boat yourself. We put in place all sorts of processes to eliminate favoritism in our process. So I don't take campaign contributions from people who practice before the office. We have a whole variety of different rules to make sure that we're not conferring special favors or multiple opportunities to cut assessments, which comes at the expense of everyone else. And thirdly, we've realized that gaps in our data can also represent a disparity in the system, that the more gaps we have about data about commercial buildings or residential buildings, when we have a gap, sometimes that gap can confer favor on some kinds of properties at the expense of everyone else. So we're really trying to address the gaps in data. One of the biggest things that we can do is get a lot of data on our own. We've created our own commercial data portal so that commercial property owners can submit data to us before we start the assessment process. That makes sure that assessments are accurate for everyone, for that small property owner, that reflect the conditions that are on the ground for that property owner rather than just third-party data that we have. We've also worked hard in Springfield to get a bill passed that would give us better commercial data so that we could make sure that the larger properties are assessed properly and that the smaller property owners aren't footing the bill for them. We're also making sure that we're using data that reflects the harder conditions, the harder economics for the smaller businesses, where we might have data gaps that hurt them. And this bill that we passed has been sponsored in the House by your representative, Will Davis, as well as passed through the Senate. It was sponsored by Senator Toy Hutchinson. It passed through the Senate by bipartisan supermajority. In the House, we are continuing to work to get this bill passed. It's the number one thing we can do in Springfield to make sure that we're eliminating disparities that are caused by gaps in data. We don't want to have an assessment system that has disparities embedded in it, and this is the best thing that we can do with the legislature to fight against that. The last thing I'd like to say before I hand it off to Assessor Holbert is that let's go back to that disparity we talked about in funding schools, because this is really important. No other part of the country has more riding on addressing the disparity in high tax rates and the disparity in funding schools than the South suburbs. No other place in Illinois, no other place in the nation do you see disparities like this. Why is that? Illinois is particularly bad compared to every other state in the nation in helping school districts shoulder the cost of education. We're dead last in the United States for state support for your local school district. And the federal government has punted on this too. Let's not absolve them of blame. They haven't moved the dial on helping support the education for disadvantaged or for students in general. Really hasn't moved anything since the late 60s and early 70s. It is time for us to put more pressure on our representatives for the state government and the federal government to shoulder more of the cost of education so it doesn't all fall on local property owners, which is the state of affairs that we're in. And that is what creates these massive disparities where we see rates in some communities in Thornton Township, there are 3, 4, or 5 times the rest of the county. That is totally unfair. I wish as the assessor I could fix that, but even if the assessments are just right, that disparity will remain, and we got to do something about it. So talk to your Congresswoman, Robin Kelly, who's great, who's worked hard to have more federal funding for schools. Also talk to your senator, talk to Senator Durbin, talk to Senator Duckworth. We have a new bill in Congress that's being worked out right now. There's been lots of aid been given out to many different interest groups across the United States. How about we give a jolt of adrenaline to intergenerational wealth and lower property taxes in Thornton Township by having more federal aid for schools? If we just doubled or tripled Title I federal aid for schools, property tax levies in Thornton Township could fall 10% or more. And that's really how we get the levies down. So I've talked on too long. I wanted to pass it on to Township Assessor Cassandra Holbert, who has done such an outstanding job, who's such a great partner for us, and she'll discuss some of the resources that are available at her office for you.
Assessor, I believe you are muted. While we do that, I do want to mention that, you know, our office is doing another review on some of the pins that are located in Thornton Township. We think there are some pins that did not receive the proper COVID adjustment, and we're going to do everything we have to look into that. We're going to have more information on that as well super soon. So we're definitely want to make sure that everyone knows that. We want to make sure everyone understands these are fair things. We're trying our best to be as transparent as possible, as fair as possible, as ethical as possible. But yeah, so I believe here's what we can do, guys. Assessor Holbert, if you want, I can jump in to our presentation while you figure out the audio on your end. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. Let's do it. Actually, change the plans. What I want to do is I want to bring in someone that's completely changed our office. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Nicole, can you please join the classroom?
Hello, hello. I am unfortunately not Cassandra, but we'll get her in as quickly as we can.
For sure.
And I'm here with Thornton data. So I will take it away just to be respectful of everyone's time. All right, so I wanted to share some data with Thornton property owners. So here's how you find that on our website. This is our website, cookcountyassessor.com, and you'll notice we have this yellow banner here that says open for appeals, and you can just click right on Thornton, and it'll bring you to everything you need. So I'll start going through, I'll do a really quick condensed version of the report. And there we go.
What's up
All right.
there?
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
No. I mean, if you want to take over, feel free. So our office conducts reassessments every 3 years. It's something called a triennial cycle. Basically, what that means is that this process that Assessor Kaegi was talking about of analyzing market trends and using those trends to update market values for your home is happening every 3 years, depending on where you are in the county. For Thornton, you guys were last reassessed in 2017, and you're now getting reassessed in 2020. And the other important thing to note is that for you guys who are receiving a 2020 reassessment value this year, that actually won't affect your tax bill until next summer. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. I wanted to go over some trends in Thornton home sales. First, I'll show you some information about the number of properties that sold, so you can get a good estimate of market activity in your home. And in Thornton, what we've seen from 2015 to 2019 is that property sales have been pretty stable. It's a nice active market with 3 to almost 5% of homes selling in any given year. So that's pretty exciting. And here is what we've seen in median sale prices. So median is basically just a fancy word for middle. And what we've seen is that from 2015 to 2019, median sale prices have actually gone up. So 3 years ago, the median sale price of a single family home that sold in Thornton was, it sold for around 75 grand. And last year, which is the last year that we collected data from to produce our estimates of value, the median home sale was $95,000. So we're actually really excited to see that home equity in Thornton has gotten better. And this is the exact kind of data that we use to produce our estimates of value. I'll note here about these little dash lines. These basically represent like the middle of all the homes that sold. Every home's different, right? So every characteristic is different. It's, its location, its square footage, whether it has a garage. And because of that, every sale price is different too. But to do mass appraisal, where we appraise all values in a uniform, equal, and fair manner, we have to look at trends in sales of all of these homes. So just to give you a picture of how broad those sales are, what we've shown between these dashed lines are the middle 50% of home sales. What that means is for every 100 homes in Thornton that have sold in, say, 2019, 50 of them had sale values in between these two numbers. And it's a pretty solid range from about 55 grand to over 130 or so. So that's this is the data that we use to in our modeling to produce estimates of value. This is a graph of the CCO's estimates of fair market value. So just how in that last slide I showed you data about the 3-4% of homes that sold and what value they sold for. This is information about all the homes in Thornton. So here we can see that they've actually remained relatively flat. In 2020, the median estimate of a value that was mailed out was around 86 grand. Just to kind of highlight some things, I want to do a comparison first of sales between reassessment years and then the actual reassessment values. So again, let's just look at sales data. So of the homes that sold, what is the actual market doing in Thornton? In 2016, so that was a year before Thornton's last reassessment in 2017, the median sale price was of a home was around 62 grand. In 2019, it's about 95 grand. So that's actually a median percent change of over 50% in value. So that's a pretty big increase in actual market trends. Now we can compare that to the values that are estimated by this office. In 2017, the median estimated value was 81,000. And again, in 2020, it was a hair over 86,000. So that's a median percent change of about 6%. Now, we did kind of briefly mention earlier that the CCAO used sales data to produce estimates of homes. We also adjusted these values with COVID-19 adjustments. And I'll briefly mention there's some neighborhood stuff that I'll get into. So I want to show you quickly Thornton's neighborhood. So this is Thornton. I don't know if you'll be able to see yourself on there. But when you get your reassessment notice, it's going to have that neighborhood code on it. So that's going to be useful when you read through the reassessment report. What you have to know about COVID-19 adjustments are two things. First is that neighborhoods with larger increases in estimated unemployment are those that had larger adjustments to value. So because historically when unemployment goes up, housing prices fall, we decided it would be appropriate to use estimates of unemployment to estimate declines in home value that would occur in 2020. Now, just as Hector was mentioning, we do think that it's possible that some PINs in Thornton might not have gotten this adjustment. Stay tuned. We're just reviewing things. We want to dot our I's, cross our T's. We'll have more information available on that soon. One thing to note about that is that these adjustments are made to your home's value that was estimated as of 2020. So even after your home it's adjusted, overall, your home's value still might have gone up because it's been, again, 3 years since the last reassessment. So I want to wrap up with this data. We'll post these reports, or rather, they're already posted. You can go check them out. We have information that is neighborhood by neighborhood. So you find your neighborhood code. We have all kinds of information about sales in your neighborhood and the median percent changes. Again, property values in sales values have gone up about 52%. You can kind of compare that to median changes in your neighborhood. Finally, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to condo owners. We have some condo data here for you too. Again, what we see is sale prices have kind of moved around a little bit, but they've also gone up. And we also have data for small apartment buildings. So if you own a small building, 2 to 6 units, sale prices have gone up there too. So that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to talk about for data. Again, our number one job is to fairly and accurately follow the market. So we wanted to give you guys information about what's gone on in your local market.
All right, Nicole, thank you so much, Nicole. You definitely, I know we say this all the time off camera, but you're definitely an asset to our office. You've made my job so much easier. You take the complex things that we do and I don't know how you do what you do it. So just thank you. Appreciate your time, Nicole. You have a great night. Real quick, I would just also like to say that we do have staff in our chats right now, in the comment section right now, answering questions. So if you do have a question, but you can't wait until the Q&A portion, go ahead and write it down now so that way you don't forget. And when we get to the Q&A, you're scrambling, trying to figure it out. Go ahead and do that. We also have our coworker, Priscilla Cepeda, here. For anyone who English is not their first language, you speak better in Spanish. You understand more clearly in Spanish. So if you need that information, just go ahead and write that in the comment section also, and she will definitely contact you through there as well. But right now, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to connect with Assessor Holbert. So give me a quick second.
Can you hear me?
I think we got you. No, we don't got you. Yes, now we got you.
You got me?
I think, yes, I believe you have a cell phone that you're using, correct?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, and the cell phone's beneath you or in front of you?
Should I put it here? All right.
Yeah, the cell phone is what's working.
Yeah, okay. My luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I'm so sorry, and thank you so much, Hector. I have years of service with Hector. When I was with the Cook County Assessor's Office, I retired from there, so I have a lot of knowledge and experience. And I've really enjoyed working with our current assessor, Fritz Kaegi, and his staff. I've learned a lot from them, got an awful lot of assistance from them. I do represent 17 municipalities here in Thornton Township, a lot of property and a lot of taxpayers to keep up with. We have a lot of appeals that we're filing here at our office. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 if you'd like to come in and file an appeal. Also, we have Markham Courthouse, as the assessor said. People can call there, make an appointment, talk about their exemptions, get more information on the appeal process, talk about Mr. Kaegi's office, his transparent policy. They have everything online now, somewhat different than the other assessors. So everything is right there online where you can see what they're doing and how they're arriving to these different values and numbers. We are hosting a number of property tax meetings here in the township due to COVID. You know, it's limited, but we are still here to help you even through this time to answer any questions that you may have. Any of the information that I'm not quite sure of, I do have the assessor and his staff as a backup, and I thank you guys very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So I believe this is where I can go ahead and go forward with our presentation. Are we all on board? Is that good? Can I get a thumbs up? Beautiful. Let me share my screen. All right. So building a better assessor's office, guys. You already know how our office functions. We are trying our best to just be here and fulfill all the needs of the people that we have. COVID kind of threw a wrench in our system as human beings, right? But we're still here working. We're still here grinding it out. So what I want to do is I want to go through our presentation very quickly for you guys, just because I want to be sensitive to everybody's time. So here on your screen, you should see two different notices. One on the left is a reassessment notice. It is white and black. It should have a picture of your house on the top right-hand corner. If you're a condo, yours is going to look a little bit different. On the right, everyone knows what this is, right? We just got this in July. You receive two of these a year. The first one is blue in February. The second one is yellow in July. This is your tax bill. This is a tax bill. Your reassessment notice is not a tax bill. Your reassessment notice has very important information on it. It has your PIN number, your township, the neighborhood code that Nicole was talking about earlier. You can find that right here. Your construction type, your property class, your age, and all of the other information that our office provides. Usually what happens is taxpayers see this portion down here, and then they say, oh my God, my tax bill is going to be X amount. That is not the case. This here is just letting you know what our office believes your home is worth. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you would have a deadline for your appeal as well. On the right-hand side, very quickly, if you're not sure, as the assessor talked about earlier, if you're not sure about your exemptions, if you received them or not, or you don't know, or you're not, you're new to this, it's fine. You want to go down to tax calculator on your tax bill, and you can see the homeowner exemption should have an amount on there, or maybe it doesn't, depending on your situation. And all of the other exemptions you may qualify for will be listed here as well, except for the long-time exemption. The long-time exemption will be written right here. Now, I'm just going to go over this very quickly because Nicole already did this, but the reassessment cycle, it's called a triennial, 3 years. Every 3 years, your property gets reassessed. I am located in the southern part of the county, just like you all. So we got reassessed in 17. We just got reassessed in 20, and we'll be reassessed again in 23. The assessor wants to make sure that the property tax system, guys, is fair, accurate, and transparent. We want to do everything humanly possible in our power to make sure we do this accurately the first time. However, nothing is perfect. Nothing is 100%. So we know that we may have missed the mark in your property. So if that is the case, you're definitely in the right place tonight. So what happens if you receive a reassessment notice and you're not satisfied with the value of your property? Super simple. If you disagree, first of all, you need to ask yourself, hey, can I sell my home for this amount of money? If the answer is yes, or close to it, not to the dollar, but if it's close and the answer is yes, then you should not be appealing, right? Because you agree with the value you received. However, if you don't agree with the value you received, you should definitely file an appeal. You have to have a reason why you're appealing. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and the most common answer I hear on why someone is appealing is because their friend told them to. That is not an answer. I'm going to go over the different reasons one would appeal, but because my friend told me to is not one of them, right? After you file your appeal, an analyst will review the evidence, and then they decide if you're going to get a decrease or a no change. I'm going to leave this screen up for a couple of seconds. If you want to take a screenshot, if you want to take a picture of it, this is how one would appeal. You go to cookcountyassessor.com/online-appeals with an S. There's an online portal. It literally walks you step by step on how you should do this. You can start your draft. You can save it. You can revise it. You can submit it. But once you click submit, there is nothing else you can do, right? So we get emails often about, hey, I submitted my appeal, but I forgot to do this. Or, hey, I submitted my appeal, but I forgot to do that. Unfortunately, once you click submit, it is submitted. You would also submit supporting documentation. We'll go over that also. And the most important part of this is that appeals are free. They are free with the Cook County Assessor's Office. Can you hire Swindle, Barlam, and Bailey's and Brothers Inc.com? Absolutely. You have every right to do that. However, you can do it with us for free. I'm about to walk you through that right now. So let's go to Cook County. I'm going to show you how one would do that. So we go to cookcountyassessor.com. Then from there, we would hover over the appeals tab. If you're not sure if your township's open, you would click appeal calendar. But for what we're doing tonight, online appeals. Once you click online appeals, there's a cool little video that we made. I'm super visual, so I need to see things in order for them to make sense. That's just me. So if that's you, go ahead and click that video. But here is a list of some of the things you're going to need, some of the information you're going to have to provide us. And then once you're ready to file your appeal, just click on Launch Online Appeal Portal. From there, you would create an account. But if you already have one, go ahead and put in your email address and your password. Now, what's going to happen is there's a screen right before this one. If you are a residential property, that means your PIN number ends in 4 zeros, 0000. You want to appeal using a residential appeal form. If you're a condo, meaning your PIN number ends in some different combination of 4, like 1378 or 2506, something like that, then you want to use the condo co-op appeal form. But this is how it starts. So here, you just want to verify your parcel. Your parcel, PIN number, property index number, they all mean the same thing. It's the 14-digit number that identifies your property, right? So here's where you want to do that. You want to go ahead and put in your PIN number, your address, the city you live in, and your property class, and then click Next. And if I'm going too fast, guys, this is on Facebook Live, so don't freak out. You can rewind, you can fast forward. So we just want to be sensitive to everybody's time. Now, we just want to know what's going on. So once you have your appeal, some people have a unique situation where they're arguing for the appeal for more than 1 year, right? That's called a certificate of error. Listen, certificate of errors are when there are factual errors, right? For example, our office has been assessing you at 3,000 square feet, but you really only have 1,000 square feet. Or our office says you're a condo, but you're really a single family home, right? There's a factual error. Excuse me. If that is the case, you would just go ahead and check the years in question and submit the filing and continue with the filing. Sorry. Now here, we just want to make sure, we just want to know what's going on, right? So we just want to make sure that you don't have, or you might have, an additional PIN number. So what does that mean, right? So some properties are prorated. That means you have one property that sits on 2 different lots, or you have a home on one and you have like a side yard or a front yard or a backyard or some type of land around you, and you might have 2 PIN numbers. Regardless of whatever the case is, if you have more than 1 PIN number for the same property, you want to go ahead and add that here as well. How do you know if you have more than 1 PIN number? You get more than 1 tax bill in February and July. Sorry. Now we need to know who you are. Are you the attorney, tax representative? Are you a taxpayer? Are you the owner? You would just go ahead and click the down menu, the down arrow, and pick the appropriate title. And same thing here as well. We would need your name, your title, or who you are, basically. Your name, your address, your information, your phone number, and your email address to continue. Here's where it gets a little fun. So a lot of times we receive emails that say, hey guys, I don't have 2 bathrooms. You're saying I have 2 bathrooms, but I really only have 1.5. Or, hey guys, I don't have a multi-purpose building. I only have a single family home, right? This is where you would change the characteristics of your property. Here is where you would correct those. Nah, my property is not 100 years old. It's really 60. This is where you would fix all that information here. Now, remember earlier we spoke about why people appeal? You need to have a reason, right? Here are your reasons. You can check more than one, but the first reason is lack of uniformity. That means myself and Assessor Holbert live in the same area, same block, house built by the same person, same size, same color, same everything. But for whatever reason, my home is worth more, which probably means my tax bill is higher. And I want to know why my home is not uniform to everyone else's around me. The next one is overvaluation. I'm going to assume that's everybody here, right? There's no way my house was worth this much. If my house was worth this much, I will give you the keys. I'm looking for keys. Can't find my keys, but I will give you the keys right now, right? Next is vacancy occupancy. This means you have a vacant property. You have an empty property. Now, you will, for this one, have to prove that it's empty and vacant. Well, how do you prove that it's empty and vacant? Super simple, by taking pictures, right? You want to take pictures of the property. You want to submit it. You want to show that you tried to renovate it, that you tried to rent it, that you tried to sell it. Whatever the case is, why is it empty? That's what we need to know. Next is fire damage. I hope this is for no one here. But if you do choose fire damage, we will need police reports, fire reports, insurance estimates, incident reports, all of those things, pictures, everything. The next one is property description error. We talked about that earlier. No, my home is not a 2-story home. It's really a 1-story home, right? There's an actual error in the description of the home. No, I don't have a frame home. I have a mason home, right? That's what you would choose there. The next one is building is uninhabitable. This means you physically cannot live there. It does not mean that the kitchen is too small, that the bedrooms are ugly, that my husband still lives there, right? No. This means you physically cannot live here. You have that orange sticker or that yellow sticker on your property that says you're not allowed to come in. The next one is building no longer exists. That's self-explanatory. And then other's a little different. Other we reserve for act of God, right? So for example, lightning, a crazy thunderstorm, lightning hits a tree in front of your house. The tree falls onto your house. None of these options say tree fell on my home, right? So you would check other, and when you check other, you would just have to explain what the situation is. Then we have our fun and unique option, field check. Now, if you check field check, this means you want someone from our office to actually come to your home, redraw and remeasure your property. We don't have to make an appointment with you. For the most part, we don't have to go inside your home at all. We always have our IDs and we wear our identification. So if you're kind of, who are these people around my house? If they don't have an ID, they're not from our office, call the cops. Real simple. But if you're going to do field check, we just tell us why. What's the situation that you want someone to actually come out and redraw and remeasure your property? Now, this is where you would submit your additional documentation. What is additional documentation? Literally anything, right? So some people want to submit comparable properties. You don't need to do that anymore. Our office will actually find comparables for you. However, we understand that maybe you want to do your own research, and that's fine. If you're going to do that, this is where you would submit that information. Maybe you want to submit a plata survey. Maybe you want to submit some pictures, or maybe you want to submit an appraisal or something like that. This is where you would do that. However, I would caution you just to make sure you read the upload sizes that are allowed and the amount of files you can allow at one time and the file types, right? Some of these are only 5 megabytes. Some are 25 megabytes. Some allow 10 uploads. Some don't. Some allow PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, documents from Apple or Microsoft. So just pay attention to that information. Here is our legal notice. We want to make sure we are, intentional and diligent with everything that we do, transparent, fair, and ethical. So here it is right here, guys. Please read the red writing. Please be advised that once you click submit, you will not be able to make changes or additional documents to this filing. So if you don't have everything, don't hit submit, right? Don't do that. If you don't have everything, just don't do that. Just save it. Right? Go back and find whatever you need to find and then submit it. Just do it before the deadline, right? Once you click submit, once you put in your information, then you would click submit. Give me a second. After you click submit, you're going to get another warning that says, are you sure you want to submit this filing? Guys, once you click yes, there is no turning back, right? Once you submit your filing, this is a screen you're going to receive. Please listen to me closely. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. A little closer. This is your confirmation page, right? So we get this question every day. Hey, guys, am I going to get an email saying that with my confirmation information? Absolutely, but it's going to take a while to get to you. This is immediate. This is right after you're done filing. It says confirmation on it. It says, thank you. Your request is going to be submitted. It gives you a filing information. It even tells you to please print off a copy of this for your record. So I don't know if you want to, when you're done, you screenshot it, you take a picture, however you save your information. But this is where your information is. This is where your filing ID is. This is your confirmation right here, guys. So what I want to do now is I want to stop sharing my screen. And I see we have 22 different comments. So I want to jump into the questions. Let's do this. Stella, how you doing, Stella? It's been a while. Okay, how can my estimated fair market value go from $86,000 in 2018 to 134 in 1 year? Did I not receive? Okay, so I'm not sure where you came in. First of all, this is a YouTube comment, so this is worth like 10 points. So thank you guys for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, do all of that. The more engagement we get there, the more information we can provide, the more of a platform we get, and the more people can figure out, or more people we can bring into this thing. But it's not, there wasn't an increase from 1 year to the next, right? Nicole's actually here. Nicole was talking earlier, and you want to jump in, Nicole?
I'd love to, yeah. So I saw that you are in neighborhood 33, if that's right. So there's two questions. So one is about that change in market value, and the other is not receiving the COVID adjustment. So I want to talk about the real estate market first. So I will share my screen. More data, I know. But I'm pulling up the slide that I shared earlier about neighborhood by neighborhood data in Thornton's reassessments. So if that could be added to.
You say he's in neighborhood 33?
There we go. I think so. Let me, if that's wrong in the chat, just holler. So here we actually have neighborhood by neighborhood. We have a whole bunch of numbers, and I'll unpack a couple of them. So here's neighborhood 33. Right there. And this column here shows you that the median sale price of a home that sold in 2019 was $116,000. And there were 169 sales in neighborhood 33. And that's just in 2019. Now, again, this is just a median. So obviously some homes are going to sell at higher values, some less. But, you know, that is kind of a number to base that comparison on. And here is, okay, let's not talk about sales. Let's talk about the CCO's assessment. Here is the median assessed or estimated market value of a home in this neighborhood. And you can actually compare across neighborhoods too. Like each neighborhood in Thornton is different. And so we need to capture all of those differences in our assessments of your home's value. So, you know, although this number on the far right column shows you the median percent change in the CCO's fair market value that you see on your reassessment notice, you know, remember that each home is different. And although this seems like a big change, it's really because we're catching up to 3 years of market activity. And I don't know if you're here for the first part of this, but what we saw is that home equity in Thornton has increased a lot, actually, by over 50%. Again, median. And as we see here, every neighborhood's different. So, I mean, if you don't think that that number is is a fair market value of your home, that if it's not within a reasonable range, you absolutely have the right to file an appeal. And we did want to touch on whether your question about whether you got a COVID adjustment. Again, we're looking into that. We just want to make sure that, that everyone who should have, that everyone got their COVID adjustments. So stay tuned for more news for that. You'll definitely hear from us if that's the case.
Thanks, Nicole. Kevin Burns says, why did the assessor double the assessment in Thornton Township for 2020? The tax rates are among the 3 top rates in Cook County. So Assessor Kaegi actually spoke about this earlier, right? Our office does not touch your tax rates, each township tax rate. So just to break it down, there are 38 different townships. Each township has many different tax rates. My tax rate is 13 point something. Literally across Cicero, it's 15 point something. So each area has its own tax rate. These tax rates are, I don't want to say responsible, but that's the word I'm going to use right now, are decided by the tax levies in your specific township. So the police departments, the fire departments. Actually, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you where you can see this in detail. Give me a quick second. All right, here we go. So if you guys look at this tax bill right here, you have this giant box in the middle, right? These are the taxing bodies, levies in your specific area. You want to know why your tax rate is so high? This is where you want to look at. It literally shows where your money is going to the dollar. And fun fact, the county portion, which is the bottom part, has not increased in 26 years. That means the county portion has not gotten any bigger. We haven't asked for any more money in 26 years. So I just want to make sure everyone knows how to read their tax bill, because that information, that's a super good question. And that information is right here. And you can also see your tax rate right here. It's the second to the last bottom. Next, let me get out of here. Next question. Invoice, where does it show taking out discounts for disability? Okay, I will give you, give me 1 second. So when you want to figure out if you're receiving your discounts or not, you would look at your second installment tax bill. And what you want to do is you want to look at the tax calculator. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. And right here, this is the bottom of your tax bill. So your tax bill is this portion right here. And at the very bottom left-hand corner is the tax calculator. This is where your exemptions would be listed. So if you did receive the persons with disability exemption, it would be right here. It'd be listed right here. If you did not and you feel you qualify for that, we have the link to our certificate of errors in the comment section. Go ahead and click on that and go ahead and fill that information. Next question. Victor Mendoza, this content is awesome. Great job. And thank you for putting this together and making this digestible. We strive to make things as simple as possible at the assessor's office. This is a team effort. Shout out to Priscilla, to Maura, to Michelle, to Teresa, to Kelvin, Angelina, Nicole, everybody, guys. That's what we try to do. Assessor from the assessor all the way down, guys. I tried to create an online account and put my email and password, and the automatic response generated that I would get an email, but I did not get an email yet. So here's what I would do. One, please inbox us your information so we can keep a tab of this. But I would just wait, depending on when you did it, right? So if you did it today, like in the last couple hours, just give it a few hours to catch up. But if you don't get something by tomorrow, I would definitely, inbox us anyway so someone can jump in and answer your questions for that. I'm sorry. Gail Jackson says, my neighborhood code is 53. In 2019, it was assessed at 87,000. In 2020, fair market 124. I need the address so I can come into the office. This is exactly what Nicole was just talking about, right? But if you do want to come into our office, you have to make an appointment. That information or that link is in the comment section. Go ahead and go there, or you can go to cookcountyassessor.com and it's right on the homepage. Schedule an appointment, and then you can come in. But our address is 118 North Clark, room 320, third floor, Chicago, Illinois, 60602. How long should I have to wait to receive the COVID-19 adjustment if based on that chart that you just showed, it said to negative 10% or minus 10%? My appeal deadline is... Okay, so we talked about this earlier. Again, I'm not sure when you came into the live, but our office is currently working right now to go ahead and make sure that everyone who should have received an adjustment is going to be receiving an adjustment. So I would just hang on. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, because that is where we make all of our announcements as well. So just stay plugged in. We're definitely doing this, guys. Any other questions? All right, Stephen Hartman, the average assessment in my neighborhood saw an increase of 50%. Mine has gone up 70%. Is there any concern by your office that these updates, assessments will force people like me out of their homes? I feel like I've been answering every question that has been asked, and I don't want to be greedy. So, Assessor, do you want to jump in?
Sure. You got me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So we're, first of all, Nicole showed you the data where we broke it down by neighborhood. We are, one of the things to know is that, we know the average sale price went up over the last few years, but we also know that it came off of a really catastrophic decline in people's house values over the last decade or more. We know that home prices in some places went down more than 50%. We also know that there are lots of communities where lots of homes where people are underwater, so that their mortgage is still greater than the value of their home. And we're taking that into account in the models that we're using. So we know how much damage has been caused by all this. And believe me, the last thing that we want to do is drive people out of the community, because we know that even if our assessments are 100% right, that the rates are very high because of things that we don't control. We don't control the amount of tax that's collected in your community. We're just trying to get the numbers right for everyone, because if we get the number, if one person, we get it wrong for one person and we shoot too low, then everyone else who's also suffering also has to pick up the tab for the assessments that are too low. So we don't use our assessments to make a person feel good or to try to keep someone at the community at the expense of others. We're just trying to estimate what the market is paying for that home today. And it came off a low point from 3 years ago. We did put a COVID adjustment onto these. So in Thornton, it would have been somewhere around 10% in most of the neighborhoods. We'll make sure that the assessed value of your home incorporates that. And the key thing is, did we get the number right in terms of estimating the market value of your home? That's the thing that is the most important for us to do right by you. And if we didn't get that right, that's a great grounds for appeal. And we welcome that, and we'll make sure that we're doing right by you. But the way you can check our work to see if we did a good job is, did we estimate the market value correctly? Do we get the data on your house right? If we're getting either of those wrong, that's a great grounds for an appeal. And believe me, the last thing we want to do is to get these numbers wrong, because we know what the stakes are in Thornton and in the south suburbs, because we know the cards that have been dealt by forcing every community to pay for schools itself, while the markets have hit housing values so much over the last 10 years, has created these high rates, which we don't control. Even if everyone on this call was happy with their assessment, the rates in Thornton would be a lot higher than everywhere else because of this dynamic we talked about at the start. And so the last thing we want to do is force people out.
We got another question there, Assessor. Is there an office located in the south suburbs?
There sure is. Markham, at the Markham Courthouse. I think we can put the exact address in the chat box, but that location has been doing a wonderful job. Lines are not long there. It's easy to get an appointment there, so encourage you to use it. And our staff, you have a sense of what our great staff does here on the call. We have a great staff there too, ready to help you.
And very quickly, Assessor Holbert, if you can jump in, maybe you want to give the information to your office, Markham or Bridgeview. 1 second. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, our office address is 333 162nd Street, and we are located in South Holland. We are here to take appeals Monday through Thursday from 9 to 4. We can also answer any questions that you have regarding your exemptions, and we can also help you to fill out that paperwork to present to Cook County.
Absolutely. And guys, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that because Assessor Holbert actually used to work for our office. So she is one of the, I want to say this correctly because we can't show favorites. She's one of the ones who is very knowledgeable with the content of our office. So if you guys have any questions, you should definitely go ahead and contact our office as well. All right, we have another question here. What month should we be receiving the second installment tax bill? That was already mailed out by the treasurer's office. You should have got it July 1st, or if you pay your taxes through your mortgage or like an escrow, they would have received it as well. So the first thing I would do is call your mortgage banker, your lender, if that is how you pay your taxes, to make sure they didn't receive it. And if they have not received, I would definitely contact the Cook County Treasurer's office to make sure you get your bill, or you can go online to the Cook County Treasurer's office, and you can see your bill there. You can also print out a copy of your bill there as well.
And I just add on to that, Hector, that because of COVID, we at the county have worked hard to extend the deadline. So there was a grace period. The tax deadline was August 1st for paying the second installment tax bill. But actually only this year, late fees only start accumulating October 1st. So if for some reason you haven't been able to pay your tax bill, if you do it by October 1st, there aren't any late fees. The treasurer can fill you in on the details on that. We don't collect taxes at our office. We just do the assessments. But we have been working together with the treasurer's office and our partners in the county so that we're providing some relief against COVID. We've worked really hard in our office on extending that deadline, and we're really the first office in the country from the assessor's assessment point of view to incorporate COVID into our work. And so we worked really hard this year. The notice period assessments is coming a little bit later this year because we did include COVID in our work. So we're trying to get out ahead. We know what the devastating effect that COVID is having on so many different communities on real estate markets.
Thank you so much. Okay, last question. Assessor, if you want to handle this one, and then you can close us out with any closing remarks.
Assessor Holbert.
We can't hear you yet. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
we got you.
You do not need an appointment to come to the office before. We also have a number of meetings set up from now to the 25th of this month. If you get the Chapter newspaper, we'll be there. Also, the Focus newspaper. You can call us here. 859-6040, extension 3175. A member of staff can let you know of the locations of our meetings. When you do come to the meetings, please bring your second installment tax bill, also your reassessment notice. We will be breaking down those notices line by line into statement, just like Hector did. You did a wonderful job. You're really fortunate to have him and Katie. So anytime just call us, like I said, we're going hand in hand with the assessor's office. I work more like a liaison between the constituents here and his office, making sure that paperwork is perfect, answering any questions, no concerns to him.
So a lot of that we missed because the volume was going in and out. But what we'll do is we'll have someone from our team go ahead and put in the information in the comment section, the address to your office, the phone number to your office. The volume is going in and out, and we're just going to blame Comcast or AT&T or Verizon or Sprint or Cricket or whoever on that. But Assessor, if you want to close us out, Assessor Kaegi, if you want to close us out, I think that would be awesome.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone for staying with us tonight. We hope we've been able to answer your questions, get you the information that you need. We're here to serve you. We're here to help. So please take advantage. The staff that we've had with us here tonight is just an example of how we can help you and make sure that we're serving you. Please stay safe out there and take care, and please be in touch, and we're here for you when you need us.
Thank you guys so much. Please.
And thank you, by the way, Assessor Cassandra Holbert. I really appreciate you extending your good offices again. You do a great job.
Absolutely. We want to thank you guys. Remember, this is on Facebook Live and it is on YouTube. That means this can be rewound or it can be fast forwarded. So don't stress out. The information is going to be put on here. Any questions we did not get to today will be answered within the next 24 hours. And all the information. There was actually a question about the contact. The contact's on the screen right now. So we're going to leave that up for a couple of seconds. Go ahead, take a screenshot. Go ahead, take a picture. You guys have a great night. Be wise, be safe, but above all else, be blessed. And you guys just be safe out there. You guys have a great night. Thank you all for being with us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.